this is really, really tough, and I don't have my head around it. And I think the power of this movie is what it shows to the general public, what we all know, which is how great kids are and how much their parents care. And I think still, most people don't buy that. Like, most people think, that's going to be shocking, I think, to most people, and I think that hopefully will be galvanizing. I think personally that the issue we're up against, I don't know enough about the environmental movement, but there is no clear assessment in my mind, and maybe Howard, you would disagree, but I actually don't think we're giving people an understanding of what the path to opportunities for all kids actually is. And my fear, moving from what I've seen so far, is we're going to have people on every side of every spectrum in the ed reform movement. The people Howard is talking about who are fighting against others who are fighting for certain things, we're going to have them all using this to further their cause. And I think I'm just trying to get my head around how we make sure that this drives the right actions. And I guess what I think the people in this room can help do is maybe just keep it real for people. And I mean, the fact is, we've got a lot of states with really weak unions and really thin schools that aren't changing their kids' futures. We've got a lot of charter schools with lots of flexibility that are honestly being placed on more members than some charter schools that I believe are where the leaders should very possibly be put in jail. And they don't have any meetings. I can substantiate that. I mean, it's shocking, some of the stuff that's out there. So this is a complex issue, and what we need is more people who deeply know what's possible for kids, who understand that this is about many things. And that in fact there are, as you all know well, and as I know Howard and everyone else would agree, there are awesome teachers in our schools who, if given the chance and given the kind of vision of what is possible and the understanding that you all have, would absolutely want to be part of that success. So I just think we run a risk as a movement. And I'm worried. I sit back there and I think, oh, this isn't going to be bad for Randy. Are you kidding? She's got a perfect platform to turn this in her favor. So I think that there are lots of risks, and I just think I think you all have powerful voices and can help people understand what truly the issues are.
So, Cory, before you answer it, so there's this slight difference of perspective with Howard and Wendy on this union issue. So, Howard, Wendy makes a fair point that in many states, there aren't necessarily very powerful unions like there are in kind of the Rust Belt, California, and the Northeast, and even in some charter schools that aren't necessarily beholden to union contracts, where we still don't have great performance. How do you make sense of that, given your very strong and also well-argued point about the way that teachers' unions, particularly the affiliates of the national unions, are blockers?
I really hate the idea that I'm going to get into a debate defending unions that I don't want to defend. I think many people probably realize that. I'm more just saying, I'm worried. I'm worried about where we are, because I'm worried that, I'm just worried. But I know there are problems all around. There's trouble on all ends, and it's going to take a big, huge set of changes and forces to get us where we need to go.
But the thing is, we can't make this so complex that we're immobilized. I mean, let's be clear. For all of the talk, think about what would have happened if people had not fought for charter schools. I mean, yeah, there's some terrible charter schools out there. And I'm not a supporter of charter schools as charter schools. I don't believe in supporting anything other than purpose. And so, because the moment you start getting committed to something other than purpose, you get committed to the entity that's supposed to get us the purpose. You then become a protector of this guy. So I I want to be real clear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this, that there are forces out there whose objective is to sustain the status quo. Those forces have to be confronted. Now, just because you don't have them in one state, it doesn't mean that those forces are not out there having a huge impact on the national conversation that impacts us everywhere. And so I'm not trying to suggest that every union is terrible, every person who's in a union is terrible. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when I was superintendent, the first meeting that I had with the head of the union, he said to me very clearly, my job is to protect teachers. I said to him, my job is to protect kids. The question is, are we going to be able to work together on what I thought was the reason why you even had a job, which was to help kids. And so, Wendy and I are not as far apart as you all, or as it may seem. I'm just trying to say that I'm worried too, but I'm also clear that there are friends out there and there are enemies out there. And that we have to confront these enemies wherever we find them. Some of those enemies are people who started schools who should have never been given the opportunity to ever start a school in life. And they're not all white. There's some black and Latino people out here who should not start schools. These people are enemies too. Then there are the people, no, I'm just being as blunt as I can. You got the NAACP and the Urban League and the Latino, whatever group signed on to this atrocious letter attacking charter schools. You got elected officials who are bought out by these forces who are sustaining the status quo. So, so my point is, and I'm going to shut up, my point is, no, really, my point is that the work that you all are doing is incredible. There's no question about that. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that if we're going to take on the larger fight, we have to understand, first of all, that there is a fight. And that this fight is not going to be won because you have great schools, because they don't care. We have to use the fact that you have great schools to enhance our fight, but there is a fight. And when there's a fight, you've got to be prepared to fight. And you can't be whining and crying and going home to your mama when you get hit back. That's